Here is our Smith Super Secret Math Hack on how to multiply and divide decimals by the numbers 10, 100, 1000. We call these three numbers right here and some other numbers too, but we're going to focus on these three. These are called powers of 10. So I'm going to start with the number. We're going to make it 541 and 27 hundredths. So let's say that I wanted to take this number and I wanted to multiply it times 10. Now, sure, I could sit here, I could set up my multiplication problem, I could solve it and figure it out. But the whole point of this is we're going to learn the Smith Super Secret Math Hack, so you don't have to set up a multiplication problem. You're able to tell what the answer is by doing one simple thing. When you multiply, what's going to happen is your decimal is going to move to the right. So that decimal, it's going to move this direction. It's going to move to the right. And how you know how many places to move that decimal is you're going to count the number of zeros in that power of 10, and that's going to tell you how many places to move the decimal. So if I'm multiplying again, it's going to move to the right. There's only one zero in the number 10. So that decimal is going to move one place to the right. So 541 and 27 thousandths times 10 gives us a final answer of 5,412 and 7 hundredths. I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to use my calculator to prove it to you guys. Dun, dun, dun. So 541 and 27 thousandths times 10. Sure enough, we get 5,412 and 7 tenths. So what if I wanted to multiply the number, let's say 632, but this time I'm going to multiply it by the number 1,000. I'm going to go a little crazy here. So right now I don't see a decimal in the number 632. It's okay. Every number actually has a decimal. There are just sometimes that we don't see it. That decimal is invisible. So in every single whole number, even though you don't see a decimal, that decimal is lying at the very end of the number. So I'm going to rewrite it so I have some room. So 632, and then there's that invisible decimal. So since I'm multiplying, I'm going to move it to the right. I'm going to count the number of zeros. So I have 1, 2, 3 zeros and the number 1,000. So if I start to move that decimal, 1, 2, 3 spaces, it's really weird to have this big gap in between the very last digit and that decimal place. So in order to fill the gap, we put zeros there. So I get a final answer of 632,000. Okay, so now let's think about, well, what happens if I'm not multiplying? What happens if I'm dividing? So when I was multiplying, we were moving, oh my goodness, I'm trying to dry off my desk and I'm sending things everywhere. So when we were multiplying, we were moving that decimal to the right. Well, division is like the opposite of multiplying. So if I'm moving to the right when I multiply, I'm going to move to the left when I divide. But the zeros telling you how many spaces to move, that still works the same. So let's say I have the number 897,421 hundredths, and I want to divide it by 100. So since I'm dividing, this time my decimal is going to move to the left, but I'm still counting those number of zeros. So I have 1, 2 zeros. So that decimal is going to move 1, 2 places. 4, there we go. So this ends up being my final answer. And again, I'm going to use my calculator, to prove it to you. So 897,421 hundredths divided by 100. Sure enough, it matches up.